reality is here, what we're having right now, this is an end of a relationship, right? In terms of LeBron James and the Lakers. Now, whether it comes at the end of this season, if LeBron James decides as a free agent to sign somewhere else, or if he decides to retire, or he decides to come back for one more year and, decide that he wants to retire as a Laker. Like, the end is near with this relationship, either however you want to slice it. And so,
Quite frankly, I don't really care about articles. I really don't. I don't care about stories. I don't care about podcasts and all that type of shit. They don't bother me. I'm 41 years old and
Ever since the LeBron conversation, I feel like I know him a little bit better.
Yeah.
It feels like we know him a little bit better. Feels like he's earned the right to do whatever the hell he wants.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's what everybody's saying is he is doing whatever the hell he wants. Enough of it.
It's too much.
Is this where you want to finish?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm good.
The King's throne in Los Angeles is crumbling, and it's happening right before our eyes. LeBron James, the same man who brought the Lakers their 17th championship, the same legend who chose LA when he could have gone anywhere, the same player who's carried this franchise on his back for 8 seasons, is watching his relationship with the purple and gold disintegrate in real time. And the worst part? Everyone's acting like it's not happening. But it is happening. The signs are everywhere. The tension is palpable. The end is near. Let's get one thing straight right off the bat. This isn't about basketball. LeBron's still elite. At 41 years old, he's averaging 23.2 points, 8 rebounds, and 9 assists. He's still making plays that make you forget he's been in this league for 23 seasons. The man is a walking miracle of athletic longevity. This isn't a performance issue. This is a relationship issue. And relationship issues in the NBA, they always end one way.
Is this where you want to finish?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm good.
Here's what's really going down in Lakerland, and trust me, it's messier than anyone wants to admit. ESPN's Baxter Holmes dropped an absolute bombshell this week, a deep dive into the fractured relationship between LeBron and the Buss family. And when I say fractured, I mean shattered. We're talking about Jeanie Buss privately considering not renewing LeBron's 2022 extension. We're talking about her floating the idea of trading him to the Clippers. The frickin' Clippers! Can you imagine that level of disrespect? Trading your franchise cornerstone to your crosstown rivals? But wait, it gets better. Or worse, depending on how you look at it. The story reveals that Buss was apparently upset that LeBron wasn't grateful enough for the team drafting Bronny, the greatest player of this generation who brought you a championship during a pandemic, who chose your struggling franchise when he could have signed anywhere, and you're questioning his gratitude because of your draft pick? That's not just petty, that's personal. And here's where LeBron's response becomes absolutely fascinating, because when the media asked him about it, he didn't explode, he didn't get defensive, he didn't even deny it.
Represented this franchise and what I wanted to do to represent this franchise, so when I got here till now, it's been with the utmost respect and honor and dignity, and I would say loyalty. I mean, I've played here longer than pretty much any other franchise I've played for.
That's not a man fighting for his relationship. That's a man who's already emotionally checked out. That's a man who's done trying to prove himself. That's a man who's ready to move on. Let's rewind for a second and understand how we got here. The Russell Westbrook trade, that disaster that set this franchise back years, has been the elephant in the room since 2022. According to Holmes' report, Jeanie Buss felt like LeBron didn't take accountability for that move. And you know what? She might have a point. But here's the thing about superstar team dynamics in the modern NBA. When you give your star player that much power, you can't suddenly get mad when things don't work out. The Lakers gave LeBron input, they executed the trade he wanted, and when it blew up in everyone's faces, suddenly it's all LeBron's fault. That's not how partnerships work. That's not how you build trust with a generational talent. And now we're watching the consequences play out in real time. The Lakers are struggling defensively. They've lost 6 of their last 9 games. They're about to embark on this brutal road trip while the Grammys take over Crypto.com Arena. And their franchise player, the guy who's supposed to be leading them through the storm, is talking about watching golf all day. Golf all day. That tells you everything you need to know about where LeBron's head is at right now. But if you want the real tea, you gotta listen to what Shams Charania said on the Pat McAfee show. Because Shams doesn't just throw things out there for clicks. The man's got sources at the highest levels of the NBA. And what he said should have every Lakers fan terrified.
I don't think LeBron James knows right now, January 23rd, 1:41 p.m. Eastern time, what he wants to do with the rest of his career. Like, I think there are multiple pathways that this could...
Multiple pathways. We're talking about a player who's been with the Lakers for 8 years, who brought them a championship, who's under contract for this season, and his future is a complete question mark. Not just to us, not just to the media, but apparently to himself. Shams laid out 3 scenarios. LeBron could retire as a Laker after this season, he could sign somewhere else as a free agent, or he could just hang it up entirely. 3 completely different endings to the LeBron Lakers story. And nobody, not LeBron, not Rich Paul, not the Lakers front office, knows which one is coming. That's not stability, that's chaos. And here's another wrinkle that nobody's really talking about enough, the Luka Doncic factor. Look, we all know Luka is the future of this franchise. The kid's 25 years old and he's already a bona fide superstar. He's averaging 28 points, 8 rebounds, and 9 assists this season.
You can see they've clearly turned the page. Like, Luka Doncic is this team's franchise cornerstone. Luka Doncic is where this team is going.
And you know what? That's perfectly reasonable from the Lakers' perspective. They should be building around Luka. He's got 15 more years in the tank. But here's the problem. You can't have 2 franchise players on the same team when one's 41 and one's 25. It doesn't work. The timelines don't match. The goals don't align. And when you're making roster decisions, you can't keep trying to serve 2 masters. The Lakers have made their choice. They've chosen Luka's future over LeBron's present. And LeBron knows it. Hell, everybody knows it. The question now becomes, how does this end? Then there's the whole Rich Paul situation, which just adds another layer of complexity to this mess. Rich went on his podcast and made some comments about Austin Reeves that rubbed people the wrong way. Reeves' camp wasn't happy, there was a confrontation, and now we've got tension between player camps within the same organization. This is textbook end-of-relationship drama. When the agent of your franchise player is beefing with other players' representatives, when there's territorial disputes about who gets what publicity and what role on the team, that's not a healthy environment. That's a toxic workplace, and toxic workplaces produce losing basketball. The Lakers aren't just struggling on the court, they're struggling as an organization. The chemistry's off, the vibes are wrong, and when you're trying to compete in the brutal Western Conference, bad vibes will absolutely sink your season. Let's talk about what's happening on the court, because that's where this whole thing becomes undeniable. The Lakers' defense has been an absolute catastrophe lately. They're getting outscored by 15.5 points in first halves over their last 2 games. 15.5 points. That's not just bad, that's historically terrible. And sure, they've been mounting these dramatic second-half comebacks, outscoring opponents by 15 points after halftime, but you can't live like that. You can't dig yourself into massive holes every single night and expect to claw your way back. Eventually, the math catches up to you. Eventually, you're going to be too far behind to recover. The loss to the Clippers last night was a perfect microcosm of this team's problems. They fought back, made it close, got it down to a 1-possession game in the 4th quarter, and then made critical defensive mistakes down the stretch that cost them the game. LeBron leaving the strong corner open, leading to that John Collins dagger 3, that's a mental mistake. That's a guy whose focus isn't entirely there. And before Lakers fans come at me, I'm not saying LeBron's checked out effort-wise. He's still competing, he's still trying, but there's a difference between trying hard and being fully mentally invested in a situation. And right now, with all this off-court noise, with all the uncertainty about his future, with the clear organizational pivot toward Luka, can we really expect LeBron to be operating at 100% mental capacity? Here's the brutal reality that nobody in Los Angeles wants to acknowledge. This relationship has run its course. 8 years is a long time in the NBA. LeBron's given the Lakers everything he's got.
He delivered that championship in 2020. He dragged them to the playoffs multiple times with rosters that had no business being there. He's been professional, he's been productive, and he's been one of the faces of the league even in his 40s. But relationships in the NBA have expiration dates, and this one, the milk's gone sour. Think about LeBron's other stops. He was in Cleveland the first time for 7 years before he left. He was in Miami for 4 years. He went back to Cleveland for 4 more years. Now he's been in LA for 8. This isn't unprecedented. LeBron's career has been defined by these distinct chapters, these different eras with different teams, and every chapter eventually ends. The question isn't if this chapter ends, it's when and how. We're less than 2 weeks away from the trade deadline, and while nobody seriously believes the Lakers are going to trade LeBron right now, the fact that it's even being discussed, the fact that Shams is reporting about ongoing conversations about his future, the fact that multiple pathways are being considered, that tells you where we're at. The Lakers are about to hit this brutal road stretch. They're leaving LA while the Grammys take over their arena. Austin Reeves might come back for part of it, but this is still a team that's lost 6 of 9 and is desperately trying to avoid falling into the play-in tournament again. And LeBron's watching golf all day and not caring about articles. That's not the mentality of a guy who's locked in for another championship run. That's the mentality of a guy who's already thinking about what's next. The King came to LA with championship aspirations. He delivered one, but now he's stuck on a team that's pivoting to its future, a team whose owner has questioned his loyalty, a team that's struggling to defend, struggling to win consistently, and struggling to figure out its identity. This isn't how LeBron James should go out. This isn't the ending this story deserves. But in the NBA, sometimes you don't get fairy tale endings. Sometimes you get messy divorces. Sometimes you get awkward final seasons where everyone's just going through the motions until the inevitable split finally happens. Welcome to the end of LeBron in LA. It's not going to be pretty, but it's going to be fascinating to watch.